him sort of saying like, this is a big part of Kingpin's life. It's a big chapter for him. Makes me kind of believe that we're going to get more of Kingpin than just the part of Echo that he's in that's not maybe related to the rest of the MCU. If he's going to be this like Thanos.
He's always been that though. He's always been that, even in the comics when it comes to a street level thing.
Welcome back to the Breakroom. I'm John Costa, and joining me today are Jay Washington.
Hey everyone, how are you? I'm feeling great today. I've had some great news already. Thank you. I want to pass on these blessings, and I still didn't get Christmas gifts from anything or anyone, but I'm being re-blessed.
I just really wanted you to sit there in silence and do this for a little while. You were so happy I wanted to just kind of take the wind out. Hey, Coy Jandreau's here too. Look, hey. I don't want to throw insults at people.
Pop up now?
We got names. Welcome to season 3 of the Breakroom.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. Feels
Isn't that
good.
crazy? We had names in season 1. We did not in season 2.
Yeah, they went away. They came on back.
Give him a name again.
Yeah, we've earned it.
Hey,
Jay Washington named. You were gonna insult me.
Can we get the wide shot? Look how short Coy is.
All right.
Hey, coming
I didn't know that was coming. I was like, how is he gonna come at me? And like, wouldn't have guessed. I look so tiny.
I know. We need to stop putting our shortest guests in the
right in the center. I'm just like
apex.
look at this little guy
from the camera.
I look like an actual leprechaun you kidnapped.
Well,
like you just like brought me for the show.
I'm sorry. Is that not exactly what you are?
I feel great about it. I'm on brand.
That's right.
I did.
Toy.
Represent my people.
The great people of Scotland. Hey, coming up today, is Kingpin the new Thanos of Marvel's Spotlight Saga? And does the Spotlight Saga even exist? We're going to get into it. For today's headline show, play that new graphic!
Oh.
I thought it was Drake headlines. I really did. I felt like, oh.
That's right. That's right. This is now a hip-hop podcast. Here we go. Hey, one of the biggest things we haven't discussed yet this year, and maybe we'll do, what was it going to be?
I was going to be so petty and real childish when you said it. It was like one of the biggest things we haven't discussed this year, and I should have been like, and I just had to catch myself because it was like the comic in me wanted that moment. I'm sorry for interrupting. You can take it back.
Now, one of the things that we haven't talked about much this year is Jay's
There it is. There it is.
And we may do, I'm just reading the prompter here, and maybe we'll do so in another dedicated video or on the new Rockstars channel. No.
Please explain this.
Not Jay. It's the sort of end of the closing of the book of the DCEU is what we wanted to talk about briefly. Aquaman 2 came out just before Christmas. You know, there's been a lot of headlines about how it's not done well in the box office. I think that's still true, but it has already made more money than The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Shazam 2, the prior 3 DCEU movies that came out in 2023. That was the year that we just had. It has not caught up to Black Adam, which I think...
Wait, was Black Adam last year?
Black Adam was the year before.
That's the highest grossing in the last 2 years of Black Adam.
Okay.
The hierarchy of DC changed.
That one did $390 million. I'm assuming that's probably just domestic.
I think he hit like at least 5.
Oh no, that's worldwide.
That's worldwide.
That's worldwide. Not great.
Ooh, okay.
Not great for these movies. Now, this is not in the script in the rundown, but I do want to kind of ask. That almost implies to me that like Black Adam was sort of the death knell of the DCEU. That was when all the like changing of the leadership was happening. You got your hand up.
Because I'm waiting. Don't let
Get
you
in
finish.
there.
I want to
Get
ask.
in there.
It absolutely was. Look.
Is The Rock responsible?
Yes. And I hate to say it this way. Coy, you just said it. The hierarchy of the DCEU has changed. He was trying to build the entire DC universe around Black Adam. You can build a universe around Dwayne Johnson. You cannot build a universe around Black Adam. Because also the person you should have, if he was going to do that, all right, cool. Well, guess where you should have appeared? In Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Or in the Shazam post-credit scene. Not wait till Shazam 3 to possibly be a part of that.
And there was this whole, I know we're rehashing old stories here, but the whole like, he didn't want to be in Shazam because he thought it was beneath him,
Yeah.
or he didn't want Shazam in his movie. Was a whole lot. But you pick this character, you have to kind of honor the character, and that wasn't
What was the
happening.
movie before Black Adam?
It was just
Wonder
a fight.
Woman 84, then the Suicide Squad, then Black Adam.
Right, and again, we all forget about Wonder Woman 84. I hate to say it that way, but
I think that might have been harder on the DCU than even Black Adam because it was such a big awaited sequel because of how good Wonder Woman 1 was.
Yes.
And then I think the follow-ups hurt it. It was like Wonder Woman came out, oh no, and then the pandemic is like not helping any box office at all.
No matter what.
So then the first thing coming out after all these rattlings is Black Adam. But I think the writing might have already been on the wall because they needed the hierarchy to change. The whole point was The Rock was going to save it.
But
It
you
needed to be
can't-
something you needed to save.
he couldn't do, and I say again, I have much love for DJ. You can't do what you did with the Fast and the Furious franchise in this case because
We calling him DJ now?
that's how you
We're just
call him
we're cool.
DJ.
Okay,
Let's just call him DJ.
just making sure.
All right, but you can't do that because it's like you already know at this point things are changing. We don't know what's because at that point we didn't know that Safran and Gunn were gonna have the DCEU when
Not when Black Adam came out.
not when Black Adam came. We didn't openly know. They knew. We didn't know. Right? You
Well,
still
they were still taking meetings around that time because they had that big executive meeting where a few names were tossed
Well,
about.
right.
But that was when Black Adam was coming out. So I
Right.
think that internally, maybe. But The Rock was gunning for Gunn and Safran's seemingly position from
He was
behind
gunning
the
for being-
scenes.
he wanted to
He
be-
wanted to be both Vince McMahon and The Rock.
and The Rock at this exact same time.
Yeah.
So,
That was a wrestling reference, the only one I'll ever use because I'm proud I even knew it. I had a thing. That was for you, by the way. That was just for, I didn't have any, that's all I got.
But you go back to that, right? So you have all this. Then after that, the announcement happens that Gunn and Safran have the world, right? So you know immediately, for the most part, every other project that's DCEU means nothing.
Well, and in addition to that, part of that announcement was, and we're moving on from Henry Cavill.
We're
Right,
moving
that
on
was
from
the big
Cavill.
story.
That was done.
Within a week.
We're moving
And so
on
the
from Cavill.
post-credit scene for Black Adam
meant nothing.
felt really kind of moot.
It meant nothing. You get, okay, The Flash is coming out, but Ezra Miller got all this shit they dealing with. So everybody like, uh-oh, what's going to happen with
That's
that?
why I think it was before Black Adam because they wouldn't have announced that they were taking over unless writing was already on the wall that things were messy with the Hamada.
But the
So-
things were writing was on the wall and it was messy regardless.
But 84 didn't do well because
Well,
it couldn't, and then the Suicide Squad couldn't do anything.
But the Suicide Squad, I always tell people you can't judge the box office on that
No,
because
'cause it was during the pandemic.
It had day and date.
Right.
Well-
Anything that had day and date, you can't judge that.
Except Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a unique anomaly because of the fandom.
Well, the
being
fandom of it.
like,
So
it's
it's-
like the Minions guys. Who
yes,
come out
it's
like, it's unique.
absolutely it's a unique thing.
I agree with all of you. I do want to move us on.
That's fair.
You opened this question up.
from a discussion about things that happened in 2022. Things that happened
Oh,
now.
Mr. Futurist.
Well, what I'm saying is when you talk, so when you look at Shazam,
I appreciate the context.
So when you look at Shazam, you get Zachary Levi run his mouth. You said past 2022. That's why I did it.
2023.
That's
Now
why I
we're
did
here.
it. That's why I did it because you said 2023.
So spring of 2023, the near future.
You said move past that year. I did what you said. Go ahead.
No, but I do. all of this is the lead up to Margot Robbie was recently asked about her future as Harley Quinn, and she gave this like answer, non-answer. I just want to read it for you guys now. She said, "I always wanted a Harley to be a character that would get passed on to other actresses to play. The way there are so many iconic male characters, and that was the dream for her." She says, Harley's so fun and can go in so many different directions. You put her in someone else's hands, and it's like, what are they going to do with her? The options are endless. So, that's not an answer of like, are you going to come back and play Harley Quinn again? But that is a little bit of like an I'm okay with
But
this
bring up
happening.
why that question was asked because of Lady Gaga.
Joker 2, Fidelity.
Right.
Lady Gaga's going to be playing
Harley
Quinn.
Quinn.
Now, that is not a part of the future of the DCU. I imagine Harley Quinn will be a character in the future DCU. James Gunn has worked with Margot Robbie before, just the once, right?
Just the Suicide
She's
Squad.
not
Yeah,
been
just the Suicide
in,
Squad.
Okay. I thought maybe like in Scooby Doo or something.
I would love that. She'd be like 5.
Would have been great. So, there's still a possibility that she could come back. We don't know yet. There's been like my most frustrating part about the future of the DCU is like no one has said continuity's fully resetting. All the DCEU stuff is in its own different universe. where it's a full blank slate. It kind of seems like they're going in that direction, but James Gunn has also kind of said like, well, Blue Beetle is kind of part of it, and maybe Aquaman will come back.
Like it was very intentionally not touching the other stuff. Like they even made the logo for LexCorp different.
Sure,
and like that helped it, I think. But the thing that worries me
you
is
also
Peacemaker.
see the box office of that and kind of say, is that a character that they want to keep?
I think
making movies
Sholo's going to
for?
get carried over. I think that's going to be like a Justice League
Yeah,
element.
because you
where
got to remember, Blue Beetle was a victim to the strike. We talk about victims of the pandemic. You got to talk about victims of the strike in the same regard. Sholo couldn't do any promotion for Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle had to just drop, and that was it.
I'm not sure that promotion for that movie would have saved its box office receipts.
Really?
It would have helped, of course. It would have helped, but I don't think that we would be looking at that movie as a big success today. I don't think,
I think it'd be less in the red, but I do think
I'm
that
not saying it would have been a major blockbuster, but I think it would have done way. I think you all aren't giving it enough credit as to what the promotion would have done for that, because you'd have had a worldwide promotion tour, especially with him being the first, Latinx superhero. That would have done so much wonders for that box office. That's the only thing. I
think Sholo is Charm Incarnate, and I think he is Blue Beetle, but I don't think the movie where we are with superhero culture now is going to do a lot because of how crowded the market is. Like, I do feel like there's a certain, not of superhero fatigue in the to scale, but in this, like, okay, what are you going to do to make it different? And I do think the Latinx culture representation is incredible in that movie. That's the difference.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's different enough to cause the amount it needed for the $200 million more it would have needed to get in the even. You know what I mean?
I don't think, again, I'm not going to say by any means it broke even. I'm not going to say that. I know for a fact it wouldn't have broke even. But I think it's or even made this immense profit that everybody keeps saying. Everybody who's watching YouTube videos who never has talked about films like, well, it didn't make a profit because it didn't do 2.5 times its budget plus the market. Shut the fuck up. But I just think it would have done way more because you would have done. I think the tour we would have seen would have been for the first time a heavy South American tour. I think we would have seen a heavy South American tour. I think we've seen things like that would have just galvanized an audience to go even more.
Well, the family elements were, I think, my favorite. I wouldn't say best, but they're my favorite part of the film. And I think that would have been able to illustrate with their relationship on the tour, and I think that would have helped it. I just don't know how much people would have wanted to go out and spend $20 on Blue Beetle, even if they'd known about it. I feel like there was a lack of awareness of the film, but even if they had known about it, as long as you got HBO Max waiting at the side for 3 months later,
get that.
Streaming is what killed movies, not the strike.
I'll give streaming its down, the film's down.
I think the streaming.
I still can't
issue-
watch Poor Things on streaming, and I won't see it in a theater.
That's my point. This is Exhibit A. As long as you know streaming is going to be eventually coming to you, people wait at home. That's what killed superhero movies.
I'd get it on DVD.
But there's still some movies that people. There are some movies that are still.
DVD.
Well, in the world pre-streaming, I would get it on DVD.
I like the idea. They're like, nah, I'm gonna pay $12, not $20. I'm gonna get it.
There are some people who still are going though to see certain movies, regardless of if it's coming out in 30 days on streaming.
Yeah, but that's the people that are already gonna see it no matter what, whether there's a press tour or not. Those people already know about it.
Okay.
That press tour wouldn't help those people. That's what I'm saying. Is like if you're into superhero stuff to scale, the press tour doesn't matter to you. You're gonna see the movie. Those are the people
But that's the thing, and I'll use Black Panther for an example. Black Panther, regardless, streaming was not a thing like that. But there were black older people who were not familiar with any superhero films were going to see this movie in the theater solely because of what it was. Never had seen an Avengers movie, an MCU movie, but they were going to see this.
Who directed Blue Beetle?
Angel Manuel Soto.
Damn it, I was hoping to catch you. My point was going to be, Ryan Coogler was a little bit more of a well-known person who had a track record,
No one
and
cared,
I think I think that there was like a level of trust and excitement for Black Panther that would not have been there for Blue Beetle. I do want to kind of move us on.
You start these guys. John keeps starting these conversations, and
The
then when
prompter is about Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
No, okay. So going into that. People, because that was the argument, and I saw this quote early because my buddy brought it up with the whole recast T'Challa thing again. Because it's like, oh, see, they can recast certain characters. And I'm like, I get it. We already knew. But Margot's not Robert. She's not going to tell you directly, yes, I'm Harley in James Gunn's universe.
I don't think she is though.
I'm just saying whether she was or not.
Okay.
She's not telling us directly. Nobody is telling us directly. You had Jason Momoa be like, I mean, this might be the last time we see Arthur.
Well, and my guess is that it's just because no one's inked a contract yet, right? They were casting for Superman Legacy, and that's what they're focused on. Here's something interesting that I want to talk about. A similar story. Could they not be in this thing? Patrick Stewart just gave another interview. That man, bless his heart, he's reached the age, in my opinion, that certain people get to where they just decide, I'll say what I want to say because I'm old.
Yes.
That is what Patrick Stewart has been doing. He just had a conversation with Josh Horowitz of the Happy Sad Confused podcast, where he kind of teased an upcoming appearance in a Marvel thing. We'll watch that in a second. Eric is making a video about this that's coming out on the New Rockstars channel tomorrow. So we're not going to go, it's not like our top story, but we did want to talk about it. He also said that some of his scenes in Multiverse of Madness were frustrating because they did the kind of green screen, you're looking at a tennis ball thing. Horowitz sort of asked him, like, you know, you're friends with Hugh Jackman. I imagine you got a call from him at some point. And I think Patrick's exact quote was something along the lines of like, there's been discussion, there's a process, all that kind of stuff. That makes me think that either he is going to shoot something or has already shot something. So he had also previously sort of hinted that him and Ian McKellen would be coming back for a future something, whether it's Deadpool 3 or not. What do you guys think?
I love that there was an obvious moment where you left your question behind, and then your brain was like, "They're not going to get back to it. We're just gonna." And thoughts. I'm gonna say.
Do you think he'll have some sort of writer to make sure he shoots scenes with people on set, or perhaps try to get other returning cast members?
That's definitely the same question. I think.
What do you think?
I think that overall.
You want me to retake it?
Let's take it back from the top. Let's start again from the top.
All right, here we go.
All right,
Welcome back to the break room.
Whoa, I'm at the top of the question.
It's at the top.
Oh, we're
Blue
restarting.
Beetle, let's bring up Blue Beetle again.
I thought we were starting. No, so he asked these questions, and one of his answers, he had sort of implied that, you know, perhaps he would be coming back for Deadpool 3 earlier, and him and Ian McKellen were working on something at Marvel. Presumably it's this film. Do you think that Ian McKellen will show up too? Do you think this is a sure thing, or is he just kind of being a trickster? Is he being a goofy guy?
Well, everybody's coming back for this. They're destroying. We all
This
know
is you think that this is like the multiverse of madness that we wanted?
For 8 years
It's
we've
gonna
said
be
this.
It's Deadpool kills the Fox universe.
Well, we don't know
So they
that.
gotta,
We don't know that.
I mean, there's a logo and leaked image. I think what's going to happen. Yeah, there's that big 20th Century Fox logo.
Oh,
Yeah, it's Deadpool kills the Fox.
I thought you meant like a title treatment.
Oh, yeah, and they're like-
I was like, how did I miss that?
on the back of the
damn.
director's chair.
Like
Yeah,
Deadpool kills the
exactly.
Fox universe.
Like, oh god.
It's him killing the universe, so of course they're going to be back. But again, this is the first time when it comes to, well, the second
But he's
time
already
now.
dead
Who?
in the Fox universe.
No, he's dead. One
He's
version.
dead in 838, which is in the Marvel.
He died in
Fox
838.
universe.
He died in Logan.
He died in Logan,
He died
which
in
is-
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, he's died more than most.
He's died more, but again, there are multiple Charles Xaviers.
But I think what we're discounting is how sentimental the first Deadpool is. I think a lot of people think of Deadpool as like a dick joke, but the dick joke isn't funny unless there's heart there, which is important. The
That's
blood's
right,
gotta
Jay.
pump.
Keep that in mind.
I think what we're going to be seeing is the
made a
Fox
dick joke
universe
earlier.
ending is going to be a sentimentality that you need Patrick Stewart for.
Yes.
I think there's going to be a lot of heart in ending the Fox universe in Deadpool 3 because it's a really great way narratively to do it because you get to clean up some continuity, you get to have some big spectacle, you have some cameos, you can break the fourth wall, you can explain that Deadpool is going to be an R-rated character in the regular PG-13 universe because he knows he's in a different universe, you can bleep him. There's a lot of reasons narratively to do it, but I think the thing people are discounting is Deadpool is a character that wears a mask to hide his face because he's trying not to make you throw up. That's someone that's not worried about their secret identity. That's someone that cares about you, the viewer. I think we had an actor in Ryan Reynolds that wanted to deliver a swan song for Fox. I think Hugh Jackman wasn't going to come back unless there was a reason for him to come back, finally get to don the actual costume. Logan is the best ending for that character possible in that way. But if you could have him come back, do an actual team up, do something where he gets to do something new with a new version of his same character, but also end the Fox universe not in the New Mutants, not in an unceremonious Phoenix Part 17. Do it in a way that sentimentally sends it off, and without Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, you can't do that. So I think it's all but confirmed to have them back, not because of Patrick Stewart being sassy, not because it's going to be a cameo, but because of the heart of the character and how much Patrick Stewart loves Xavier and how much Ian McKellen loves Xavier. They finally get to say goodbye.
Here's a question I have for you, Jay.
Yes.
We're theoretically going to get these people. We think we're going to get other cameos. Multiverse of Madness came. The cameos that we got in that movie were pretty briefly dispatched. We didn't spend a lot of time with them. I imagine if we do a lot of cameos again, I'm not saying they'll all get killed. If it is kills the Fox universe, maybe they will. But we're not going to spend a ton of time with a ton of cameos. We're not going to get Ben Affleck's Daredevil for 45 minutes of the movie.
No.
Do you think that, though, Coy's sort of saying like Swan Song stuff, do you think that we'll spend an extra good amount of time with certain of these characters, and who might those characters be?
The original Bryan Singer X-Men. Because we didn't really get attached to the Matthew Vaughn X-Men.
Right.
We saw them. We saw the movies. We like Fassbender's Magneto to an extent. We like McAvoy's Xavier to an extent, but we really didn't get super drawn into those characters. When we bring up these X-Men characters on film, we automatically go Stewart, McKellen, Barry, Marsden, Jackman, all these different people, Kelsey Grammer. We bring those names up. So I think those will be the characters we may focus on more, that we may see more variations of on top of that. Also, again, look, this is Patrick Stewart's, second go-around with Marvel Studios? Mm-hmm. He knows about all NDAs and everything. So, of course, and he knows how to answer those questions. And everybody now, when it comes to Marvel Studios, hey, there's been some phone calls. Mm-hmm. There's possibly been. We talked about some things. That's everybody that's working on Marvel Studios stuff now. There's been some phone calls. Not saying we guaranteed to do it. Not saying we're not doing it. You're going to get all those runaround answers. But I think we know, like Coy just said, it's a swan song. And primarily, it's the Bryan Singer X-Men.
I do think it also sets up Secret Wars, so some characters might survive.
Of course, yeah, you're gonna get here, there. You're gonna pick and choose.
Yeah, I don't think they'll necessarily make it into the greater MCU X-Men, but I do think they might get an opportunity to get into Kang, and if Kang exists, and then.
Jackman is definitely going.
Oh, I think Jackman's gonna make it to Secret Wars.
He's making. That's what I'm saying. Jackman's definitely going.
They've been going like dying. I think
Kelsey Grammer's going to Secret Wars. Everybody lost their freaking mind seeing him in the Marvels because that beast looked even better than what he looked in the Bryan Singer verse. So there's certain ones, but hypothetically, you might get Alexandra Shipp as Storm in the Secret Wars.
I do want to move on. We have a bunch of other cool things to talk about. I do want to ask you as one final question. Give me one sentence. Mm-hmm. Is this the last standalone Deadpool movie, or do you think that Marvel will make a Deadpool 4, etc.?
One sentence answer. I think that they're in the Ryan Reynolds business to the same scale they were in the Downey Jr. business, and I think it might not just be Deadpool 4, but might be TV2.
Fun.
He literally just said it. They're in the Ryan Reynolds business, and Ryan Reynolds loves his character. We might get more, and Marvel Spotlight now opens the door for that.
Well, and that's an interesting point, and I think they could do a Mandalorian treatment where Ryan Reynolds doesn't have to be on set every day, but can come in and do ADR. Mm-hmm. But you probably want him to be in costume.
He's so good at
physical,
yeah.
but you could see a world in which he's spending a little bit less time on set so that he can do other projects, but continuing to grow this character. So yesterday we talked a little bit about Steven Yeun and how he had officially left the Thunderbolts project. You guys weren't here for that conversation. After our taping, he came out in an interview and said, yes, it was due to scheduling conflicts. Marvel had to kind of push the start date of filming that because of the strikes. So he walked away. But he did say he wants to be in the Marvel business. And here's his quote. "It took a lot of drafts on an email to make sure that I conveyed the sincerity of how sorry I was to have to back out." And he does kind of want to come remain or come back to the MCU in the future. I'm hoping he plays a hero. We were talking about this on Slack a little bit. I'm hoping he comes back and plays a hero so that he can be in more than one project. Marvel has a tendency to move on from their villains. But if you missed our discussion about this yesterday, check it out on the Breakroom YouTube channel. Maud, Hector, Brandon, I popped in there for a minute, talked about kind of who Yeun could be playing in the MCU in the future. He also added, it's too early to say who else he'd like to play because he probably pissed off too many people, but clearly he wants to. And so we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Do you guys have any quick thoughts before we move on about that?
It was never officially confirmed
right.
that he was Sentry until Robert Kirkman was
about
like,
a yellow and blue outfit.
He was like, I just saw him in his yellow. I was when he did his fitting and everything. Everybody's like, hey, bro. Hey, bro. So, I think that was really it. I mean, look, Marvel has so many heroes and people, and they bring so many A-list and about to be A-list stars in. He could be anybody, any place, anytime. Steven Yeun's, as right now, his value is not going down. So the more high-profile stuff he does, especially if Beef gets all these awards and nominations, it's going to be easy for them to just put him back in somewhere.
None of that. If Thunderbolts is a hit, that's being written by the creator of Beef. I think is doing the rewrite and directed by maybe one of the directors on Beef.
Yeah.
So if Marvel likes to kind of come back to people who they've had success with, I can see if they move on to do another movie, he could slot into that film potentially.
I think he's so interesting when he's still or when he's being like in Beef. He's got a lot of anger. In Walking Dead, he's very like stoked. There's different levels to him, so I'd love to see him as an X-Man because I really think they're gonna have to make sure the characters are cast well in order to tell how big the spectacle of the story gets. Team movies are hard because you have to like care about the individuals and then the spectacle of them together. So I'd love to see him in something where it's like a team dynamic.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first. Coy Jandreau is telling you guys, Steven Yeun is going to be Morph.
Confirmed. Steven Yeun is Morph.
The best
Lock it in.
X-Man.
He's gonna be Darwin. They're gonna kill him in the first.
We're going to talk about Kingpin and the Netflix Daredevil series and a few other things in a minute. But first, we want to thank our friends over at TEMU for sponsoring today's episode. Here's Past Me to tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm John Costa. Here at the Breakroom, we are online a lot. We live online, so we shop online. That means we use TEMU. TEMU is wild. You can get anything you need. So for the Breakroom, we got a bunch of cool stuff. We got a dog bed for Hank. We got a fidget spinner for Evan. We got a pizza blanket for all of us. It was originally for me. Hank has kind of claimed it, and there's a lot of dog hair on that thing now, so that's unfortunate. We also got this mini printer, which rules. You print things out with your phone. You can carry this around, leave it in your car, do whatever you need to do. Print out a photo, give it to your friend. It's amazing. Look how cute it is.
It looks great.
Yeah. I like that it doesn't take up much space on set because everything's getting a little cluttered back there. The wild thing about the mini printer is that if you download the TEMU app using the link in the description, you can get this mini printer for free. Also, search for our code. Ready? It's a doozy. DKH8455 in the TEMU search bar to claim a $100 coupon bundle and save even more. It's a crazy good deal. Use the link in the description to download TEMU and get the mini printer, then search for our code to get a $100 coupon bundle.
DKH4855!
That was wrong. It was DKH8455.
Fuck!
It's gone
Thank
now.
you to TEMU. Hey. We were just talking about this movie. Actually, this isn't from a movie, okay? This is inspired by other things, legally speaking.
No, he's talking about on Saturday.
Oh,
That wasn't supposed to come
not
out.
supposed to. But then they released
They released some,
officially. So that's
yeah, okay.
We almost got sued.
Man's not kidding.
You know what? Stick around after the YouTube portion of this.
Head over to Twitch.
Talk about a lawsuit. We'll talk about a lawsuit. But I also wanted to say before we continue, hey, check out nerdriot.shop. Camera 2.
Yo, chill out, bro.
Not what it looks like, Jake.
Yes, it is.
Not what it looks
Chill
like.
out, bro. You gotta.
It's the resting on the chin that really
That sells it.
it's accentuating the whole experience.
Hey.
I'm really proud of the work that we're doing over at nerdriot.shop. Okay.
Hey, you gotta chill out.
After
And-
dark.
Hey, you gotta chill
We
out.
just started working on a very, 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 very cool, very secret, top secret new project that I want to share with all of you, but I can't until it's done. But just
Boogie Nights
it's
shot.
coming.
Wrong.
Strong, baby.
Mark?
The nose rub.
It's just a butterfly kiss. Go to nerdriot.shop.
Over here eating a
We got some
Wahlburgers.
Echo shirts.
Mark.
We got some. Oh, look at that. Oh, we had a graphic. I should have said that earlier. Well, do we have any more graphics? Oh, look at that. That's Echo in ASL with some bloody knuckles because she's a badass. Any more? Oh, look at that. I didn't physically design this, but I told an artist what to do. Hey, that's like a mouse pad.
gorgeous.
You could put that on your desk. I have one in the other room. go to nerdwrite.shop. We're always coming out with cool new stuff. One of the things we're working on today, I don't know when it's going to be in the shop, is a Mobius, you know that really sad scene where he's like, I think I'm just going to sit here and let time pass.
Yeah.
We're going to make a little Mobius let time pass something. I don't know what it's going to turn into.
Yeah, clock.
A what?
A clock. Like
I
have
think
it
we
behind
have
the
a little
basement
clock.
Let time pass and then just
the original,
clock in
the
front of
original
them.
pitch I think is a little too complicated. Was some kind of clock iconography and him being in the TVA and then the being like crumbling and then him seeing his like 616 self and the home and the kids.
I got a storyboard. So
Yeah,
so
I was
right
like,
here-
what if it's just a clock? And he's like, what if we've been in space time?
Yeah.
So let's use this.
We
and-
look through to the other reality, and then you go here in the crumbling.
I don't know if it's going to happen. That was a very complicated pitch, and
like a
we try to keep
diorama.
things a little bit more simple. But hey, head over to nerdwrite.shop. Keep a little bookmark. We're always adding cool new stuff to that site. You never know what's going to kind of strike your fancy. Website, go. Marvel is making a kind of a big show about Kingpin being back. They just dropped a new trailer for Echo that is very, very Kingpin focused. And the most interesting thing to me was that they used clips from the Daredevil Netflix show to be like, here was Kingpin in other stuff that you might have seen, and here he's going to be in this new show. There's been a lot of discussion. Is the Netflix stuff canon? Is Daredevil Born Again a reboot? Is it a soft boot? Is it a
DOS boot?
Is it a DOS boot? No one will give us a straight answer, but Brad Winderbaum, head of streaming over at, oh wow, he's got a longer title than I thought. Head of streaming, television, and animation at Marvel Studios said this.
Now, I have a question about Daredevil. Is everything that happened on the Netflix series a part of the sacred timeline, or is it not?
So I can say that we've been up until this point, we've been a little bit cagey about what's sacred timeline, what's not sacred timeline. That was born of, frankly, a period at the studio where we were like, we have to stick the landing with Avengers. Sure. You know, it was another part of the company developing the Netflix stuff. We were aware of what they were doing. They were aware of what we were doing. But it was a lot. It was a lot to balance anyway. But now that some time has passed, now that we see how well integrated the stories are, I think that I personally, Brad Winderbaum, would be confident in saying it is part of the sacred time.
Brad, give us a real fucking answer. Jesus Christ. I confidently, as John Costa, think it's not going to be part of the sacred timeline. That's just as much of a fucking answer.
I
Go ahead, Jay.
disagree with you because you're so aggressive. Jesus Christ.
I am the villain of this show.
Yeah, we clearly know that one, don't we? He's possibly right, and this is going to be based off of something you're going to ask Coy and I in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Have we seen something? I agree. I think he's right. Everybody
I'm not
doesn't
going to
want
ask
it to
you
be
about if
now.
you've seen something.
I've read the script ahead of time, John. I did my job.
Didn't say I was going to ask it. Sorry, continue.
Basically, all right, I'll since you don't want to ask. No, I mean, if there's certain parts, everybody thought it was different because of the Kingpin and the comic look that he had in Hawkeye. That was the one thing everybody's like, oh, this is different, this is different, this is different. But
And Charlie Cox had said in comments like, hey, it's a little bit of a different thing.
But again, I think everybody has to stop taking what these actors say at face value before everything drops. Because we'll get with, just like we said with Stewart, McKellen, all of them, the NDAs and everything, you cannot give stuff away. And I always keep saying this on these shows. We got to stop being as fan bases wanting to be spoon-fed every single thing instead of letting it all play out. Yes, this whole sacred timeline, multiverse, et cetera, all these things that are happening, let them play themselves out. I do agree with Brad because of what I've seen in the first episode.
Oh, Jay! I wasn't going to ask.
I think
What? Coy, you want to tell people why you were late today?
that Echo's going to be great. I think that our theory may be getting thrown away.
You know why I say it, right?
Yeah, but
We can't talk about this.
No,
the embargo hasn't
no.
Everybody's
Our
seen the one thing I'm going to bring up.
Your theory's bullshit.
Yeah,
I
our
agree,
theory.
I
No,
agree,
our
I agree.
theory about multiversal, that we've seen different
Yeah.
universes. I think if they had kept Netflix separate until Secret Wars, that would have been appropriate. Now that it seems like, by this quote, not about anything else, that Daredevil is going to be a Daredevil season 4, and that
Yeah.
they... I think they're going to be retroactively making that Kingpin from Hawkeye the same Kingpin, as opposed to before where you and I had thought there are multiple different Kingpins because there are multiple different universes.
Right.
I think they're going to be
Streamlining everything.
I think it was too complicated for the average viewer.
I think it probably
or it was too messy because of the strike and the pandemic in conjunction. I think they could have hurdled one, but hurdling two with schedules, I think it was just a bridge too far.
Probably.
I'm going to act as a Brad Winderbaum translator here, right? I think if I'm reading into what he's saying here, his implication was we didn't care. We didn't care if it was going to be the same continuity. We made these shows. It's fitting well. We like how they could be connected. So now that we've sort of sat with Echo, it works well with the Netflix show continuity. And now we're kind of starting to decide, do we want it to be the same continuity or not? But when we were approaching making these shows, we didn't think about it in that much detail because he said something along the lines of like, I don't know, now we see where these shows are. And I also think that Daredevil Born Again might get a title change, and I'm wondering if during the strikes they sat there and were like, we're not loving where this story is going. Maybe we do just make it the same continuity as some of the Netflix stuff, and maybe that's how they're zagging that show to fit more into the Netflix.
Well, remember,
stuff.
that one already had it. That one had the one thing that the other shows didn't have. It had showrunners, director. It had actual writers in there for the Born Again stuff. That wasn't the whole, like, the clumpiness of, no, let's just make an 8-hour movie or an 18-hour movie because it's supposed to be 18 episodes. That wasn't this already. I agree the name may change, but I hear you. I just think that clip we see of Daredevil fighting Echo, that costume is Netflix.
I also think there's been a certain amount of, hey, we had a 10-year plan, we looked this far ahead, and now we're catching up to the end of what phase 3 and just beyond it was reaching. And that would be the time you'd start to map out your next 10 years, your next 5 years, and that's when the Save Daredevil campaign was huge. I think there's some... We know Kevin Feige listens to the fans. We know that Marvel wants to make sure the fans are the ones that are like, you know, kind of steering the ship with them. I think this lines up pretty perfectly with like, hey, we're going to have Daredevil come back and let's put him in She-Hulk, and then realizing like, no, people want this Daredevil. And then Echo looks to be from the trailer more in the Netflix tone. What if while we're fixing and recalibrating things, we just streamline? That's why I think at a point our theory might have been 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it's going to land that way because Kang Dynasty is going to be a whole new thing if it exists.
If it exists.
Secret Wars is going to be a part 1, part 2 if it exists in the same scale. If they recast, Kang, then it might be a different story altogether because they'd have to explain the end of Quantumania. Maybe it's a different multiversal set of Kangs because infinite timelines, infinite blah, blah, blah options. You can make it work, but that does to me go, hey, we've got a lot more monkey wrenches than we had because of the timing and because of all that stuff. Maybe we don't do this landing. Maybe we have to pivot, and maybe then we go, hey, what if Daredevil's more of a season 4? Let's hire the awesome guys from Loki. Let's go this direction instead of a procedural 18-episode thing. Let's go a Netflix-esque 8 episodes, and we get the guys that can handle darkness and fighting. Because if you look at, Justin and Aaron's work, it's a lot more interestingly heady and dark, and it's got
Very
like this,
cerebral.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cerebral.
got this experience that is more like a Netflix show
Yes.
than it is like a Disney Plus show. So why not test it out with an Echo show and make something more TVMA and put it out on Hulu, bring in a new audience, bring in a more mature audience. But they couldn't have planned that from Avengers 3 when everything was going great. When things are going good, you don't change it. When things are going bad, you start to change it. I think this is a newer change.
Also,
I agree.
Marvel
I think
Spotlight
that
is a whole thing.
Whole new
too.
thing. Yeah.
Well, so let's get into the Marvel Spotlight stuff because in that very same interview, Brad was asked if they were kind of setting up Kingpin to be like a street level version of Thanos for their Spotlight stuff, and we have a clip of that too.
Speaking of Thanos, it feels like Wilson Fisk is kind of like the Thanos of this street level corner of the MCU. Is that the case going forward? Is he kind of like what we're building towards?
Oh man, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I can't say too much, only that as a chapter in Wilson Fisk's life, this is a crucial one, and sets the stage in some remarkable ways for what's coming next.
It's a really interesting point there. I have a couple of things that I want to add to that. One, and we're going to talk about this on a new Rockstars episode, a sneak peek that's coming out on Sunday. Jessica and Eric are going to talk about this a little bit. But one, we've heard that the answer to who bought Avengers Tower is going to be answered in Echo. Well, there's been rumors that it's either Val, Mephisto of all people, or Kingpin, well, who's the only character that's confirmed for Echo is Kingpin. We know D'Onofrio obviously was in Hawkeye, in Echo, in the upcoming Daredevil Born Again. But we've also sort of heard that they might want to get him into a Spider-Man 4. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some kind of like Kingpin show. If we saw him, potentially in a run-up for New York City mayor or something like that. Him sort of saying like, this is a big part of Kingpin's life. It's a big chapter for him. Makes me kind of believe that we're going to get more of Kingpin than just the small part of Echo that he's in, not small part, but the part of Echo that he's in that's not maybe related to the rest of the MCU, and the stuff from Daredevil. Where do you think Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin could end up if he's going to be this like Thanos?
He's always been that though.
Fate.
He's always been that, even in the comics when it comes to a street level thing. Like you just brought it all up. All these street and Spider-Man is that one person, your one greater hero, if you will, that will always have a run-in with him because he's still your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So maybe Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which was Spider-Man freshman year, maybe that involves him dealing with a run-in or two with Kingpin because Kingpin's reach is further than just being in New York City. You've always had this, it can happen. I'm fine with that. But I hope, my biggest hope is that the story about Kingpin being this guy, the story about Kingpin being this spotlight big bad, doesn't overshadow Echo in itself. That's the biggest thing for me.
I think it's going to be a great opportunity to like Emperor Palpatine the character and have him be like retroactively more involved and going forward more involved. I think it'd be really interesting to have kind of like the Penguin show, have an episode of TV, for 6 or 7 weeks where it does kind of establish the underworld so we can have more street level stuff in the greater Disney Plus Hulu era. Because I think that was one of the things people liked about Netflix is it felt like a procedural, it felt like a cop show at times, but from a vigilante perspective. And I do think Disney Plus is missing that because they've been so focused on the brightly colored side of things that it would be smart to have the guy that has been saying for 5 years on Twitter, like, let me back. Like, there's no one that loves his character quite like Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio do as publicly. Like, Tom Hiddleston loves his character and he'll talk about it, like, when he's doing the stuff, and he'll make it very clear, like, if he's on a play, he'll be happy to talk about Loki. But I don't think anyone's been like, I'm asking for this on my social media quite like these two. So let them come back in a way we want and let them like have that reign. I do think a street level Spider-Man 4 is what they need to do. So I think Kingpin as that side of things would be smart because we haven't felt like there was a cohesive villain in a while. And if we've lost Kang, then you need the one to lock it in.
This wasn't in our kind of rundown today, but Spider-Man's in a really odd place. We've talked about this a few times. We know that they really want him to be one of the leaders in the new Avengers movies, whether that be Avengers 5 or Avengers Secret Wars. But the end of No Way Home left him in a place of, loneliness, and he's by himself and maybe trending more to this street-level hero, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. And maybe Fisk would be a great villain for him. Do we need a Spider-Man 4 before we get new Avengers movies
100%.
in order to transition him from friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to multiversal Avenger? Or can you kind of get away with doing that in a different show? If Kingpin does have a show, can you kind of get a little bit of Peter Parker or even just Spider-Man in that show and show him being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and then realizing there's a greater threat on the horizon that he has to prepare for? And now, hey, I gotta fucking knock on Doctor Strange's door and be like, hi, I'm Peter. We knew each other at one point. Now you don't know who I am. I need a suit. Can you sew some magic shit into my suit? I don't fucking know. How do you handle this Spider-Man transition?
I'd let Spider-Man be a small character for a while, and then you've got 3 of them. Bring in Toby if you want your Spider-Man in Secret Wars. Like, let Tom Holland be a friendly neighborhood guy. Like, let him play. And I think that Tom Holland should get to act. He's a talented actor. Like, let him be in a contained. I would rather have a Harry Osborn, Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker sitting in a diner 2-hour movie a la Tarantino than another time that he goes to space. I would rather have like him fighting Hammerhead, Kingpin in a gang war story than him fighting Venom yet. Andrew Garfield can fight Tom Hardy. Tobey Maguire can lead Secret Wars, and Tom Holland gets his time to be an actor.
But you do look at the Avengers lineup and say, you need Spider-Man.
Here's the thing.
You need a Spider-Man.
You need a Spider-Man, but let's also bring this. You also still have Miles Morales out here.
I don't think they'd introduce him in a team movie because then you have the same problems you had to Tom.
with the way they introduced him in Civil War.
Yeah. He didn't get to be his own man. You want Miles to be the shadow of
No, you just you
idolship
said
to
introduction.
Peter Parker.
But we're just talking introduction, and then you can move forward from there.
Yeah, you kill Andrew with Venom, introduce Miles, and then let Sony have a Spider-Man of their own and not have to tie it into Avengers.
What if we didn't let Sony have a Spider-Man of their own?
Now that I agree, but I think we got to do this. Remember this: Marvel has this giant universe, right? Even from the comics to what we're seeing now on screen. One of the biggest things Marvel has always had in its comics are street level. Let's let street level be street level. Spider-Man is one of the very few that we go from street level to main consistently. But we don't always have to worry about that. Right now, this Spider-Man is figuring everything out. We got to see what Spider-Man freshman year is going to be. I think before we start, postulating what things could be, let freshman year play itself out. Because then we can go from there and like, okay, he maybe not stay in school, or he may finally go to school. This way he meets a Dr. Kirk Connors. So now he's still building up his rogues gallery more than what he has. But Kingpin is still around. He's always going to be around. You're going to give me... I want an Alice to Smythe so bad because I just want Spider Slayers. I just want Spider Slayers. That's all I want.
That would work for like a sequel to a
It would
contained
work.
one. Yeah, that's a good
But that's what I want.
too.
But all of these other people are starting to slowly come in. Fantastic Four is there. Again, we don't know if that's the Baxter building. We don't know if that's the Kingpin Tower yet. We just know it's somebody's building. But Kingpin...
By the way, how fucking hype would it be?
Dude, it'd be so dope.
Someone saying something Baxter
building
Yeah.
and you just lose it. That's
Also, after Secret Wars, I think they should go smaller. I think that they've gotten so big, they don't have any higher to go. Big. If go to Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, street level stuff as a focus. Also, your budgets get smaller. If these movies are making 400, 500 million worldwide, you need to make your budgets 100 million. Like, I think...
absolutely. Yeah, but and this thing, there's so much you can do. When you keep bringing up Kingpin, for instance, all he has to do is reference people. That's all he has to do. Like, we keep saying that he needs that. You said earlier he needs a series. I don't think he needs his own series, because I think we'll get to the point you're like, we're stretching out this character way too much. Like, we've got a lot about him.
20 years of Criminal Minds Vincent D'Onofrio gives me a
Well,
lot of hope in a 20 years of Kingpin.
I
think it's great. I want to see it on the other side.
I don't
Like,
mean
I'd
to
watch
say
that in a
I
second.
need more D'Onofrio Kingpin. What we do need is more Marvel to focus more on their street level, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing,
That
let
we
them
need
do
more
that without. If you're going to do Spider-Man, let Spider-Man stay one place. Because again, I agree
York.
with him. You move.
You know what I'm saying, though? I want him in New York.
That's
I
what
want
I'm
that
saying.
as
In
a
New York.
character.
Let him be in New York. Stay there. Boom. But I'm with Coy. You have a bunch of other Spider-Man. But you need... If he's going to stay street level, boom. Don't worry about him in the big
And I
universe.
honestly do think Miles should get introduced in a Spider-Man movie or in something that's like with one of the Spider-Men we've met, because I don't think it'd be fair to Miles to get thrown into Secret Wars.
Yeah, I do agree with Andrew Garfield one.
I think it'd be great.
I
It's
think
the right
Garfield's-
tone. He's mentorship.
Yeah.
Also, him fighting Tom Hardy's the right comedy. And then if Venom kills him, that'd be great.
Marvel
Wouldn't happen. But I'm saying that'd be a great... Yeah.
Marvel's got a lot of work to do. I feel for them because every time
Did
they
your
put
laptop
up...
die?
No, it's just off.
Okay.
Ah!
Total shift.
Cut that up. Marvel's got a lot of work to do. I feel for them every time they put up a new, hey, here's what's coming up. That's my Kevin Feige. Hey, here's what's coming up in the next 4 or 5 years. A strike happens. An actor death happens. A pandemic happens.
Your martial arts hero pulls his Achilles.
An actor gets arrested. Someone pulls their Achilles.
Shang-Chi,
What
like
happened?
literally, Shang-Chi pulled his hand to get Achilles surgery.
Did he really?
Yeah, like if the irony that it's him.
What was
like,
that?
He just recovered. He was at the Gallo. He had on crutches. He
I
literally
didn't
just got
realize
surgery.
that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they had to push Shang-Chi quietly because I'm like, you're a martial artist. Like that's of anyone.
Out of all the people, couldn't have been Iron Fist.
Yeah,
But
man.
with all that being said, I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most next year is the new Phase 5 and Phase 6 graphic that we'll inevitably see, that hopefully will have fewer changes than the last few cycles that we've gotten from this, because it'll really kind of tell us what Marvel's plan is, since they've had to adjust this 10-year plan and see how they plan to kind of build out this
You know what I'd like their
universe.
Phase 6 graphic to be? TBD. I think they should stop announcing stuff 5 years out.
Fine with me. But rest assured, we're going to be talking about all of that on this channel. Subscribe to the Breakroom. Follow us. We have a podcast out now for Inside Marvel, which is coming back next week with the new season, the new series Echo. She's coming back. Give Jay a follow at Mr. J Washington. Give Coy a follow at Coy Jandreau. Give me a follow at the Breakroom. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much.